I'm just off K Street in Washington, D.C. It's a quiet, low-key neighborhood, and that was the point, because standing near here in a boring-looking building, hidden in plain sight, if you like, was the National Photographic Interpretation Center. In 1962, armed couriers came to this building with some footage that a spy plane had shot over Cuba. And this is the photo that shocked the analysts, because here are missiles. The Cuban Missile Crisis had begun. Cuba was just 100 miles from US soil. The photos proved this communist island had medium-range nuclear missiles able to strike America. Kennedy's generals plotted an invasion of Cuba close in size to D-Day. Experts used spy planes to estimate enemy troops on the ground. The CIA told Kennedy 6,000 to 8,000 Russian troops protecting 32 missiles. The reality was even more chilling. On Cuba were 40,000 Russians and over 90 nuclear warheads. Had the US invaded, it could have triggered nuclear war. But Kennedy overruled his generals. Rejecting invasion, he went for the softer option of a blockade instead. The legend says JFK strong-armed Khrushchev into removing his missiles. He stood tall, eyeball to eyeball, and Khrushchev blinked first. Under powerful pressure, Russia turned its ships around and pulled out the missiles. After serving 3 presidents, elder statesman Dr. Leslie Gelb knows when a story is just too good to be true. Les, what was the official Kennedy line on how the crisis came to an end?
He faced Khrushchev down. They were at the gunfight at OK Corral. Khrushchev dropped his guns.
And what really happened?
The real story was quite different. In the secret negotiations that were taking place, there were 2 things agreed upon. One was that the Soviets would take their missiles out of Cuba. The other, the one that got hidden for years and years, was that we agreed that we would take our Jupiter missiles, our nuclear Jupiter missiles, out of Turkey, which was on the border of the Soviet Union. And it was almost 10 years later that the true story began to come out.
Why did Americans want to believe this story?
Because it was a story about American toughness. And American toughness is at the very heart of American folklore, of how you win in politics, how you win in foreign policy. And Kennedy proved it, and we like to believe it was true, so we blotted out the real story even after we heard what it was.
And you yourself, Les, you were taken in by this.
No question about it.
All your experience in digging down and discovering secrets, and you thought that they were telling the truth too?
Yes, I sure was. I didn't know the truth, and I didn't find it out privately. And when it was revealed, I was both shocked and felt, of course, that's what must have happened. How else could you have made the deal?
Do you think that the Cuban Missile Crisis had consequences for American foreign policy?
It became a myth that affected decisions almost forever thereafter. That the way to end these crises was by threatening to go to war, not by trying to negotiate, where you'd have to, heaven forbid, compromise, which is an awful word in American foreign policy. But toughness, that's the best word. And the Cuban Missile Crisis proved it.